So apparently you have many things to say about our first topic.
I'm hot.
But I would like to start.
Hot about it.
I would like to start. We're going to talk about the brand new Prelude, which just got announced a couple days ago. But the thing I want to talk about is the fact that every now and then you and I say something and pieces of it come back to us.
Okay.
The point I'm making here is when you and I recently drove, and it's on our test drive channel, we recently drove the current gen Civic hybrid. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we talked about the fact that it had, in a hybrid system, the same power as the SI, which we really like.
Yeah.
And we spent the back part of that review talking about if this only existed with the Civic SI manual, wouldn't it be cool? Civic SI better seats, a little bit better suspension, essentially make the hybridized, sporty version of the Civic hybrid.
Yes.
It would be a score.
Yes.
And along comes the Honda Prelude.
You're right. And that's why I'm kind of upset is the wrong word.
Okay.
I have thoughts and feelings about it.
I can tell, yeah.
I didn't think I did.
All right.
As soon as it got announced, I thought, oh, Prelude. Okay. And then everybody saw the horsepower and torque numbers.
Yeah.
200 horsepower, 232 pound-feet of torque.
Which is more than the SI, by the way.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. And then people started reading, no manual.
Uh-huh.
It's not real. It's front-wheel drive only. How does this slot against? What does it compete against? What is this? Where's the competitor from Honda for the GR86 and the Miata?
Sure.
Where is that car?
Yeah.
So I dug in further. I started really reading the specs and really trying to understand Honda's headspace. Mm-hmm. Here it is. I want to start with styling. Okay. And I like that we have the side elevation here to show you and ask the question. What is the most aerodynamic and hydrodynamically efficient shapes?
A teardrop?
A wing or a teardrop, right?
Yeah.
Because
I got that right, everybody.
You did get it right. Because I thought, oh man, it doesn't have the power to compete with a GR86 and Miata's going to be lighter and this is probably going to be too expensive. And everybody's asking the question, no manual. Oh, what is this S plus shift that Honda's talking about? And it's a hybrid. And what are we doing here? They've got to be setting themselves up for something here because the Prelude, as good as it is and as fun as it has been in the past, it's never been the pinnacle performance fun car.
True, yeah.
It's been a step down. So what are they doing here? They're going after efficiency. They're going after aerodynamics, hybrid, fuel efficiency, great MPG, but still something fun to drive.
Seems like it.
And the question occurred to me, can a new car create a new class of enthusiast car? I'm asking that of myself. I'm asking of you. I'm asking of you, everyone listening and watching. Can a new car suddenly create a slightly new class of enthusiast or, I guess, SUV? SUVs and crossovers have been doing this for decades
Fair
now.
point. Under the guise of we bought a sports utility vehicle, they have made a lot of things that have stretched that term beyond belief, for sure.
It's not that Honda didn't match up with what Mazda and Toyota are doing. It's that now Mazda and Toyota don't match up with what Honda's doing. Because they have created actually something that has potential to be pretty fun to drive. And we have already established with our love for the Hyundai Veloster N that front-wheel drive is no slight against an enthusiast car.
Well, but also, here's the thing. This is related to Civic Type R running gear, and all of us agree that the Civic Type R is front-wheel drive, and we're fine with it.
Yes.
That's the thing I'm surprised about the commentary about why is it only front-wheel drive. I'm like, because their iconic world-beating car is also front-wheel drive. I would love the Honda S3000 or whatever Honda would do as an affordable, genuine Miata fighter rear-wheel. I would love Honda to do that. But this was never going to be that. It was never going to be that.
No.
So the fact that it's front-wheel drive, I think, is an obvious reality.
I'm so glad you brought the hybrid up because here we are. With a combined system output between a gas engine making 141 horsepower and 2 electric motors with a new system of shifting that isn't an automatic and it is not a CVT. It's essentially the way the lockup clutch is operating between the 2 electric motors to transmit power and change the car from being a series hybrid to a parallel hybrid at high speeds. Well, it's taking advantage of both.
The other thing going on here, and we also should clarify this, Honda does hybrid differently than Toyota.
Correct, yes.
Honda has essentially a direct drive electric motor, and it's much more similar to the old Chevy Volt, not Bolt, Volt. It's much more similar to that than it is to what Toyota is doing. It is a different reality where theoretically the gas engine is mostly there to create electricity, and in some situations it's connected to the wheels. That is not the way the Toyota Priuses work. It's not the way hybrids or any of Toyota work. It's not the way most hybrids work, but it is the way, again, the Chevy Volt was done, and now the Honda versions of the hybrid, and that includes Accord and Civic, are this idea. Now, this has been refined further to be more fun, hopefully, to drive, and they're creating fake shifting, essentially, is what they're doing in order to appease those of us that like to drive. The fact that I'm astonished that they even cared enough to separate this out. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that you and I called for as wouldn't it be cool, because if I remember correctly, the hybrid we had of the Civic also had sport in the title, and we kept going, why is this called sport? Because it wasn't sporty, but it was a very good hybrid.
Sport hybrid or sport touring hybrid, yeah.
We kept saying, where is the actual sporty version of this? And instead of making it as a Civic, they've made it as the Prelude, and I'm actually okay with this.
Yes. Okay, so second large point. First is aerodynamics, and that does address the styling. Because even though it's a 2+2, the back seats are useless.
The back seats, I'm surprised they qualify because they look like they have no
It's for insurance.
real...
It's for insurance.
I feel like they have no real headrest. They probably got those weird headrests you see on third rows where they like come up on a huge stalk for 5 feet.
Maybe. Maybe.
Seriously, because you look at them...
The post goes the entire way.
You look at them in the photos, and they're gonna come not even as high as my shoulder blades if I sit back there. But anyway,
it's for insurance purposes or any 2+2.
And little kids, yes.
Tiny kids. It's not for adults.
Yes.
So aerodynamic efficiency. Second of all, this is a parts car.
Yes.
You and I like parts cars.
We typically do. The Frankenstein cars are typically really fun. Yeah.
This is Civic Type R suspension. It has the adaptive variable suspension. It has the front brakes from the Civic Type R. Civic Type R front suspension and axle, actually.
Yeah.
And the engine from the hybrid. Actually, the entire system from the hybrid with this new S Plus shift. And if PDK is doing it so great, there isn't a manufacturer on the planet that can touch PDKs. So to get there to a fun shifting, whether it's an automatic or just the ability to shift, Honda has to rethink it. They have to completely approach that fun feeling, quick shifting from a different perspective. Now, we haven't driven it. Nobody's driven it. No. We want to drive it. Drive it. I'm going to drive it.
Drive it or drive it.
I'm going to drive it into the ground.
Put it in the driveway. We'll experience it as best we can. Yeah, for sure.
So this is a parts car, and parts cars are successful. We love that 2011 1M.
Yep.
I love my Cayman GT4, which is a bunch of GT3 parts screwed to a Cayman.
You're right. Yeah.
And this, they're taking the greatest hits, because we showed, I'm so glad you brought it up, that Civic Hybrid. We showed a lot of love just saying you wouldn't need to do too much, and you can actually drive this in a performance, fun, sporty way.
Yes.
And it seems like Honda already had this on the drawing board.
Of course.
This was already underway. Sure. It's not like they listened to us.
Somebody at Honda was smiling and nodding when they watched that, because like, we were already,
thank you for being on board what we've been doing for the past, I don't know, 4 years at least.
Probably, yeah.
And so we thought, gosh, this could be a fun, efficient, great to drive hybrid. And it didn't matter suddenly, even though this does not fall within the Paul specified limiter of 250 to 600 horsepower.
It does not.
Maximum
You're right.
fun.
It is technically below that.
It's below that. And yet we still loved it and gave it raves. And it was
we enjoyed it
like crazy.
Yes.
So third major point, and that is, imagine you're the product planner at Honda. There's probably an army.
Yeah, it's probably not one. There's a room. There's been meetings, and a few memos went back and forth, and I guarantee you the Slack channel is full.
Honda has told everybody, the world, with the Prelude, that there is only one trim level. This is it. There's not going to be a manual version, and they're not indicating there's an SI and a Type R version of the Prelude. But again, like I said, this is not the highest performance 2+2 or coupe or fun performance sporty car. It's the one down. So if this technology in a front-wheel drive car will be the lower cost, and by the way, that Civic Hybrid is 3,250, 3,200 pounds approximately. If they can get this at 3,000 or under, we're good, Honda.
But if they can get it at 3,250, I mean,
even
let's be honest.
At parity,
most sports cars are 3,300 and above, like
totally
full-on sports cars.
But with this styling, I think, I wonder if Honda is making the Prelude sort of like throwing a dart. It's like a dart, like what we love about the Civic Type R, the SI, the Veloster N. There's the Fiesta STs.
Yes.
They were great enthusiast cars. And so I have high hopes for this.
I do too.
And I am fighting against my initial, well, gosh, it should have just been a direct competitor to a Toyota GR86. Well, then everybody would complain, you didn't lift a finger, Honda. You just did kind of the same thing Toyota's already covered. They kind of own that market, and you just wrapped it in your styling and put a Honda badge on it, and you didn't bring anything new to the table or push enthusiast driving forward.
But the last time the Prelude was around, the S2000 was around. And the Prelude, the Civic, and the S2000 did different things. If you're going to really be Honda and you really want to compete with the GR86, this is not your car. It never should be your car.
Correct.
It needs to be an alt to the Civic, a unique thing in the lineup, which this suggests it will be. But I do want to challenge Honda in one thing.
Okay.
The CRZ existed.
It did.
A hybrid with a manual.
With a manual, yes.
And now, having said this, in the same way that Porsche, I'm going way back, and Porsche introduced the 964, 911, and they were like really excited about their all-wheel drive system. So the first year they were all-wheel drive. This feels like we're going to do a new sporty hybrid front-wheel drive, and they're all automatic because that's how you release that car. We that like manuals may be like, where's the manual? But the reality is the people that are going to buy this, 90% of them, it's going to be their commute daily.
Yes.
So that's not manual friendly. As great as the manuals are from Honda, and as much as I would daily a manual from Honda, that's not this market. This is
for sure
somebody that doesn't want a Civic or a Prius, but wants a hybrid to go to work. That's the primary person buying this. It's not those of us that love the Miata and the Civic. I mean, and the GR86. It's actually not the primary buyer, I bet you. So if you're going to commute in this, hybrid and automatic go together. But if you have some sporty leanings, we've given you the S Plus, and again, we haven't driven it, we don't know. But I do think a year or two down the line, Honda's proven, and they are the only ones to my knowledge that have done hybrid manual.
Yes.
So it's not even like we're asking them to go somewhere else. So where's the manual version of this in a couple of years, or maybe the mid-cycle refresh? I think that's still possible.
Thank you for brushing up against my third major point, and that is the performance version. There's no SI, there's no Type R of this, but whatever the S3000, the S2100, the S2001, I don't care what you call it.
Yeah.
It's that coming. They're bringing the Prelude back. They did it.
True. Yeah.
And what is their next fun, actual real sports car? And they're redefining it yet again because it probably would be hybrid. Maybe it's manual, but now the technology is perfected to another level. They're talking about putting this technology in future cars as well. I mean, this is the CR-V hybrid and Civic hybrid running gear, essentially, with some performance parts. I love that it's a parts car. I actually embrace that and yes to that. And then what will the S3000 be? That is the rear-wheel drive that differentiates this in the marketplace. Also hybrid, very fun to drive, more horsepower. Then we'll get back into the 250 to 600 range. No problem. And
I'm excited about this.
They're leaving the door open. You're right. This is a commuter. It's still going to be fun, but it doesn't compete. It kind of creates its own new class.
It does, but I still think it'll be interesting to put this against interesting other competitors.
Absolutely.
Like 86 versus this. This has more power than the 86 does. Less horsepower, but more torque, and is hybrid. How's that feel? The Miata may be weird because I expect this is going to be maybe 1,000 pounds heavier than the Miata or close. It's not really a comparison. But the GR86, which is 2+2, is a definite thing to compare here. Front-wheel drive can be very fun.
Yes.
As the way the average person drives, I bet this is going to be quite fun because they're bringing to your point, all of the proper Frankenstein parts have been brought over to this.
Yes.
I'm excited, and it feels so along the lines of what we were kind of dreaming about when we drove the Civic Hybrid, that I'm glad that the Prelude is filling that thing we were envisioning. I also hope the seats are good.
It's in the name. It's the prelude to the actual sports car coming out.
Let's
hope
so.
In the name.
Let's hope so. Yeah, I like that. It's good. It's good stuff. Okay, we're going to move on from the Prelude. You guys had so many thoughts. We dropped these pictures. They weren't even our pictures. You guys had so many thoughts on that car. It was amazing. One of the other funny things about all the Prelude pictures that have been everywhere is the fact they were shot in our backyard.
Yes.
A lot of places that we film were the places where these were shot, all the way to the point that when I go to our first bit of news that I'm going to talk about, that I want to bring up, it was taken at the exact same place.
Okay.
And that is Nissan has performance news. That's not something we say often, but we're excited about it.
Yes.
The NISMO Z. This is taken, by the way, at the exact same turnout at many of those Prelude photos. I think it's very funny. Anyway, this is taken obviously in the fall. I pulled a bunch of photos from Chance for this episode because I realized a lot of the cars I'm going to talk about this episode, Chance has done really cool photography. So I wanted to do a shout out to that. And this is an awesome, awesome photo of the NISMO version of the Z that we had. Now, there were two problems with that car when it showed up. It drove like I wish the base model drove.
Yeah.
It was quite expensive. Those were the two problems.
Too expensive.
Because it was touching $70,000.
Well, there was actually a third problem.
The third thing was not a problem. It was an unexcusable reality.
Okay.
That's beyond problem.
That's worse than a problem.
Yes.
Okay.
This is only going to be automatic.
Yeah.
Because the transmission and everything about the engine, it can't handle a manual. That was the actual Nissan line. It's not possible. It wasn't, it's coming. It wasn't, we've heard you, we rushed it, we thought everybody liked an automatic. The actual Nissan line was, it can't take it. Well, what I like is that they've decided that wasn't correct, and the announcement has happened that they are actually going to release a manual version of this car, and this is the way you want the current Z car. I think that the current, and I'm a Z car fan, but I think that the current non-NISMO version is just too soft. The minute you start driving it quickly, and we're going to talk about GT cars in this episode, the minute you start driving it quickly, it drives much more like a GT car.
It does.
That's supposed to be just a GT car
yes.
than any kind of sports car. This can still do some GT things, but is really sporty and was wonderful on a back road. I loved it. We put it with the Supra. We put it with the Dark Horse Mustang. You can watch that piece on our actual channel, on this exact same channel, in fact, if you're watching on YouTube. So I am really excited that Nissan apparently was wrong, because it can take a manual and the one is coming. That's excellent news. I think that's fantastic news. Other bits of news, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about the Audi. I'm sure you have better pictures and better thoughts than I do, but Audi has said they have a replacement. This is the same thing Lotus did. Lotus had the beloved Elise and the beloved Evora, and they replaced both cars with one, the Amira. Well, what happens when you replace a really small car and a medium-sized car with another car? That means it's no longer small. So they've released the Concept C.
Concept C.
I have
super creative name.
I have many thoughts, but I'm sure you have more thoughts and better thoughts than I do. But we have to talk about this Audi Concept because they say that this, including this vertical grille here, is the new look of Audi's going forward. They've got essentially, I hate to say it this way, but it looks like a lock screen on a phone with an Audi logo at the top. It's a phone, doesn't it? The actual grille looks like a phone, a vertical phone with a lock screen that has an Audi logo where the time would go.
Let me switch to a slightly different photo.
Please.
This is what I would consider the money shot. There's always a money shot for every car. Whenever you're sketching one,
that one looks great.
A little bit different, a little bit better.
Three-quarter.
Look at the simple surfaces. For many years now, car companies have tried to differentiate their products by doing all kinds of shapes and a lot of a very strong shoulder line and then a lot of stuff going on the body side. See Elantra Type N Hyundai.
Oh, yeah.
Successful, busy,
Oh,
lots
completely.
going on.
So many of the Hyundais are ridiculously busy.
A lot going on at Toyota. A lot of stylistic elements from Corollas all the way up to
You're right. You're totally
everything
right.
Sequoias. A lot of visual busyness.
You could almost say noise.
Mazda tried it. Remember the Mazda 5, that van with the stamping on the body panel on the side?
mini van.
Everybody's tried it, but with this concept, Audi is revisiting what I think they're good at. Now, that's not to say that I'm in love with it.
Okay.
What I was actually in love with was the 1991 Avis concept.
Whoa.
That was
It's great looking.
really beautiful. It harkened back to the auto union days, the Type C and D auto unions. And so I come back to this car. I think, all right, beautiful, clean, crisp surfaces, and simple is hard to do.
Yeah,
Simple
it
is
looks great.
harder
It looks
to do
cool.
than
Yeah.
continuing to sketch and put creases and lines and vents and scoops and all the cliches.
Yeah.
This one has a lot of nice body side sculpting, but it's the termination at the front and rear of the car that is not my favorite.
Okay.
Because it's directionless almost. And that's my problem with the new Jaguar concept.
That's funny because a lot of people have talked about didn't this not work when Jaguar did it? I've seen those memes where people have like, didn't Jaguar try this? And we all said no. I think this is better than the Jaguar, which is a low bar.
It's better.
And I also think that just across the board, this is more interesting than the Jaguar, but the fact that even the comparison's been drawn is damning.
Yes, it's not good news. And it comes down to the front and rear. I mean, proportionally, actually, the Jag is a classic proportion. Whether you like it or not, it's classic long hood, short greenhouse.
It's the Mercedes GT we love so much in silhouette. It's that idea.
So to my eye, this is a concept, but it doesn't look finished, just as the Jaguar does not look finished. But that Audi grille on all the concepts over the years has become distinctive. It's trapezoidal. It is not rectilinear. Very few cases it has been. Even on those old sensual Streamliner Auto Union cars, it was almost an amorphous shape because of the way cars were built. It came down to the production methods and what you could and couldn't do. But here, I feel like a better mix of something directional in the front that shows speed, that indicates some sensual part of this, because it's too all the old 80s cliches, bank vault, Teutonic. It's too much of those. We've leaned in too heavily to make a nice sculpted shape with some nice fender flares, and the rest. We've really gone severe. It's too severe. It's too clinical.
All right.
It doesn't feel emotional in any way. I see severity here. I see
it's for the person with
depression.
The super clean modern house where everything is super clean modern to the point of having no warmth
without
anymore.
warmth.
Exactly.
That could be changed very easily for a production to do some directional kinds of shapes that have been in Audi's history. But the front grille, it's too simple. It's what you have identified as all the apps on your phone have gone to a flat, solid Pantone color. There used to be depth, there used to be interest to them, and they've just gone flat and boring and featureless. There's no character, personality. But also, this is apparently shared on the platform that is the forthcoming 718 Boxster and Cayman platform. So of course, Audi has this natural evolution.
Sure, yeah.
About the same size. They needed something to fill the TT and R8 gap, and this feels like the size in between those two cars.
Somebody actually broke down the sizes, and this is almost dead center between the two. It's leaning a little bit more R8, which isn't surprising.
A little bit larger,
that brings up something that I think about. It's interesting that we're talking about the 718 chassis, because I have something that I want to talk about real quickly about this design that I was fascinated by the moment I saw it, and that is when they showed the roof opening. Because remember, both the TT and the R8 were famous for being convertibles, having convertible versions. So this is a screen capture I'm showing of the roof opening. What it actually is, it's not a convertible. It's a Targa.
They went over to Porsche and said, hey, how do you guys do
This feels completely like it's actually built on the 911 Targa.
Thank you.
And they actually took a 911 Targa and put a body kit on it and released this. And I'm not, please don't misunderstand me. I understand this is how concepts are done. I understand that in order to get things to work, you build it on other things. I feel like there's been a lot of press about, this is the new TT. And I'm looking at it going, it's a 911 with a Audi body kit, and I hope they differentiate it further. But the other question that I have is, coming back to what the new Cayman is supposed to be, Cayman Boxster, is that what this chassis is? Did Audi not see the train coming, or train leaving, or however you want to use the metaphor? My point being here, the market right now is struggling with the fact that people don't want electric performance cars. They don't even necessarily want electric SUVs.
Of people do.
A very small handful.
A Tesla Roadster kind of
but that's vaporware.
Market.
I think the reality here is they are showing this car off to a market who right now is going, I'm not sure we want EVs. And that doesn't mean EVs should go away. I still want to stand on the fact that there is a lot of merit in EVs and a lot of things EVs do well. But the market at large is going, on EV performance cars specifically. Sports cars and luxury cars are the places where other markets, other brands are going, our customers have told us universally they don't want that. Into that world comes Audi with hey, you want a TT and R8 replacement? How about an EV? And I'm like, did you miss the memo? What happened?
See that side view? I like that really strong shoulder line.
No, the shoulder line is awesome.
It's just the front and rear that needs some emotion to it, because this featureless and emotionless and almost looks production. Those mirrors look production.
They do.
And the glass drops in the door just fine.
I want them to finish this, and I'm continually shocked, actually. The market has kind of had not a turn away, but like a shoulder shrug to EV performance cars. Could there be variants? Is there a hybrid version? Is there a gas version? The same, because I guarantee you, somewhere at Porsche right now, there are a lot of angry meetings happening. And there's a lot of stress going on and people going gray because they're trying to figure out, what do we do with the Boxster Cayman, who apparently already the burblings is just kind of, really, an EV Boxster Cayman?
I had a conversation with our local Porsche dealer, Porsche of Salt Lake City.
Okay, yeah.
And I talked to a salesperson there, talked about the new 718 Cayman Boxster. And this person told me, yeah, your GT4 is not coming back. He said, what Porsche's indicating is there will still be the performance, the GT4 RS. There's still quite a market for that. Something like that would continue in gas-only version at the highest performance level with a chassis like that with for GT4 class rules.
All right. Yeah.
So that could continue. He was saying through casual conversation that they're looking at new customers. The customer base for the Cayman.
you, Paul? How many have you bought now? Sorry, go on.
That won't appeal. They're looking at gaining an entirely new customer base for the 718 Cayman Boxster, and therefore translating to the Concept C, whatever the Audi version is.
Yeah.
And good news, Volkswagen can say, hey guys, what are you doing? Can we have that chassis? And they'll build a cheap version.
Yeah.
And don't forget about Bentley. Bentley's going to say, hey, can we coat it in leather?
Interesting.
And Bentlify it.
Bentlify, I like. That's good.
And kick it out the door, and suddenly it's a higher level of luxury, even though you should have bought the Audi or maybe the Porsche. But anyway, Bentley can offer something.
True. Yeah.
Maybe the same size, but have a new product. And they're looking at capturing an entirely different customer, as if the customer groups don't even know they exist. It was interesting to hear that from a dealership perspective and what they're expecting their new wave of customers to be like.
Let's hope this Audi does come out in some variation. The Prelude is coming, which is actually very exciting. How long has it been, honestly, how long has it been since there was a new model that dropped and the enthusiast internet had excited things to say at all?
It's been a while.
Exactly. The fact that we're debating how much enthusiasm is in the Prelude, I think is actually a win. And then Audi drops this and goes, hey, we're going to make a new TT R8, whatever you want to call it. I hope so.
It needs to be lightweight, but the surfaces suggest heavy.
It's going to be an EV. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be the better part of 4,000 pounds.
But for any lightweight performance EV, it needs to be as light as possible.
I
That's
agree.
what manufacturers need to focus the tech on.
Yes.
Because if that is truly what's possible with the promise, it just doesn't feel like we're close to being there. But if that's possible, if we can surmount that was the Polestar 6 concept that was also sports car like.
Yeah, you're right. It was a 6. Yeah.
Beautiful. The entire world was sort of like, yes, could you build that? Can I go buy one right now?
Where is that? Why can't I? How can I have it?
Don't just show renderings.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, what do you mean it doesn't exist?
Yeah. More enthusiast parts bin news. I want to go here, and that is, I think you've heard this, it's actually a week or more old, and that is the Volkswagen is saying that for the 25th anniversary of the Golf R, this picture was also taken at the same place that all the Prelude shots were done. Thank you, Chance. This is a Golf R, and they're saying that for the 2027 model, which believe it or not will be the 25th anniversary of the Golf R, they're going to give it the Audi RS3 2.5-liter inline 5 with nearly 400 horsepower. And I want to echo what's already been said ad nauseum, and that is yes, please.
Bring that car.
Because honestly, the biggest difference right now between the current Golf R and the RS3 behind the wheel is the personality of that engine.
Yes.
The RS3 has some flavor that the Golf R in stock form doesn't have. So let's give it in hatchback shape that engine. Yes, please. I'm sure it won't be manual. It'll just be auto. But yes, please anyway.
But the problem with that is you can go buy a used RS3 with the same engine at that point. When this comes out with that engine,
you can.
New, it'll cost more than whatever the used 2023 RS3 or 24 RS3.
But you're going to,
you could say, well, I actually have more space and same engine and pretty much the same, right?
But the difference is this will be king of the hatchbacks. People will love it because it's king of the hatchbacks. It's usable. The Golf and Golf R have always done a great job. GTIs are having a ton of space.
But if they put a manual in, the world would rejoice and Volkswagen would earn a point.
They probably would sell 5 alt collectors is the problem. But anyway, yeah.
Well, you also had the press car recently, the Hyundai Santa Fe hybrid.
I did. It came back, but in hybrid form.
And
yes.
You did a road trip, I think, right?
I burned an entire tank of gas, which took nearly 400 miles.
Good for you.
It was average 30 miles to the gallon. I actually used it as a
large
support
SUV.
vehicle. Yes, I used it as a support vehicle for one of my son's mountain bike races, which meant we went about 2 hours one way. And I didn't fuel this car the whole time we had it. I put grandparents in it and chairs and coolers and all the stuff you have to take apparently to watch a bike race, which I don't ever sit down. I'm walking around the course. But we had chairs and coolers. And yes, absolutely, there were snacks.
Snacks and drinks.
The Park City mountain bike team, by the way, throws down. There's food.
Really?
They do it big.
Okay.
Because it's a huge team. But anyway, I'm walking around to try to see. And in fact, we had a parenting victory. We were at enough points of the course yelling for our son when he went by that about 4 times in he looked at us like, really?
Really?
Yes, he looked at us. He went on the bike like, are you there again?
Was he sort of riding by like,
please stop.
Could you...
So my wife, Kate, has now started a thing that she wants to do when he gets annoyed with her, is she wants to see if she can run along beside him for a while and go, I remember when you were just a tiny little baby, just to really grind him. She hasn't done it yet, but anyway, so she here was her new tactic. When she starts to annoy him by hollering at him from the sidelines, she stays silent and recruits other people standing around her. Like, my son's coming. Would you yell for him, please? I'm just going to stay quiet. Anyway, so we were successful parents in that regard. But the point here is,
for you.
We took the Santa Fe, and I want to. We've driven the Santa Fe when we had it last year. It wasn't the hybrid. We've driven the Santa Fe before. We've done a test drive on it, and I will be honest in the fact that you and I are not fans. I also think it's ugly. And it is.
Beauty's in the eye, isn't it?
It's overlapping the bottom of the Palisade market.
Mm-hmm,
and it's right on top of the market for the Kia Telluride. And I think you're better off buying both of those, the Telluride or the Palisade, than the Santa Fe. Having said that, this comes in hybrid. It gets great gas mileage. It's very usable. It is a box to put people in. That is why the back is just this weird boxy thing.
Volkswagen Vanagon. I see Vanagon in the lights. Vanagon.
The big, this is going to sound weird, the big compliment I want to pay this vehicle, if you want to have one, is this is one of those vehicles you're never going to think about.
That can be good. That can be good.
You just climb in and it does the car things. It has seats, it has doors, it has
the whole 9 yards.
It has technology. It
seats,
gets good
steering
gas
wheel,
mileage.
some paint, a little bit of paint splashed on it.
The point I'm making here is, this sounds weird. My brain was solving problems while driving because I was so unaware of the fact I was being bothered by driving. I was off covering other things.
Think about there's everything
My brain was covering other issues. You have those times in a car when you're driving along and your brain is like grinding on something and solving things. If you're in a car that it asks much of you or reminds you that driving's fun, you can get distracted by the problem solving. I was problem solving like crazy in this car and never thinking about the gas because it was just sipping at the gas while I had grandparents and coolers.
A ton of stuff, snacks and drinks and bikes.
So there is upside here. It is. I would push you to Telluride or Palisade or matching minivan of similar price personally. But I can't take away anything and say it is bad. It's just not. I just don't think there's anything compelling about it. But it is a perfectly acceptable vehicle that will not distract you.
Nothing Santa Fe is a Santa Fe except for everything else.
Well, but Santa Fe is supposed to be kind of a quirky little place to be.
Trying to come up with
this is not quirky. It's just
no, it's not.
It does not live up to the name.
It's a Vanagon hybrid.
There it is. Yeah. Since you're listening to us, you'll end up shopping for your next car, and when you do, you need Autotempest.com.
Any car, anywhere, at any price. Autotempest searches all the major car listing sites on the web, local or nationwide. And Autotempest has recently added price history for every car listed, so you can see how prices are trending and know if you found a good deal. You can also create search alerts and lists of saved searches, so you can find your perfect spec even easier the next time.
Search on any device, in your browser, or as an app for Apple or Android. New, used, or unexpected, Autotempest is how we search for cars. Go to Autotempest.com/everyday so they know we sent you. Autotempest, all the cars, one search. For our Topic Tuesday, I've been looking forward to this one. We've been doing lists of things. And not only am I excited about this list, I think we're going to have some overlaps. But this list got me going, I want one of these. Like, I don't need one of these, but we're talking about GT cars, Grand Tourers. So cars that their first purpose is not to be a sporty car. Cars you can drive cross-country, whatever your country is. But when the road is fun, the car is still fun. A Miata and a Lotus Elise are fantastic to drive and are not Grand Tourers. You don't have enough space for bags. They're not luxurious enough. They're not big enough. When you are driving along at 80 miles an hour, you're having to think about things. Okay?
Gotcha.
Grand Tourers, you need to be able to just kind of fade back into the luxury of it and have it be a nice place to be when the road is boring and awful. But when the road is good, it doesn't let you down.
Okay.
That's my parameter. And I stayed with under 50 grand, and I also stayed with less than 20 years old.
I was under 50 grand. Miraculously for some of these choices, but also I'm with you on the usually two-seater, 2 doors. For me, Grand Tourer implies 2 doors.
I agree.
Despite every car company coming up with, no, it's a Grand Tourer. It's a coupe with 4 doors.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
This is why BMW didn't make my list, because if you actually make one, I thought about the 6 Series and the 8, but the problem with both of those is there's the Grand Coupe version that's essentially, would you like this in 4 doors? It's like, no, that's not what we're doing.
I discounted that because that seems very contrived to me. But cars that are that but have a sporty kind of bent, but they're not necessarily track cars. There's some gray areas here, and there's a bit of back and forth. There's a lot of horse trading, we'll say, to actually get to what we want and how you can use the car and actually for what it's best suited for, I think,
all right.
was my headspace. And so I'm going to dive right in.
Please.
And start with the car that's at the top of my list, designed by a fellow Art Center grad, Ian Cartabiano. This is his pièce de résistance. The Lexus LC500 is on the screen in beautiful red, even though it's being shown on a track here. It is not a track car.
No.
I think the design is outstanding. I think it's held up.
I think it's timeless.
And great news, everybody. I found 5 under $50,000 on an Auto Tempest. That makes the list. That makes it. That justifies it. 5 of them. Some of them had high miles, like 80 to 100,000 miles.
It's funny that you say this because this is on my list too for the exact same reason. And what I wanted to identify is $50,000 is legitimately the bottom of the LC500 market.
It is the
if you
bottom
have
of the barrel,
$50,000, you can go find them. If you have anything above $50,000, you have more and more choices. This is, I do think so. This is up there with the E-Type, the 90s 300ZX, as those timeless cars
that as
they go on 20 years from now, you go, those are just great looking cars. This is that level of car. I'm such a fan of the LC500.
I want to study little details. I want to look at the proportions and then study surfaces and look at details. And there's constant interest for your eye wherever it falls. As you study things, it ends on something else and it leads you to some other detail that's interesting and engaging. It still feels relevant. And this is an old car now.
It is. And it has a fantastic Lexus V8. We've driven this car a few times. And honestly, we've been hard on it when you try to make it a sports car.
Yes.
Because it has an engine with tons of personality and a chassis that just can't quite keep up with what the engine would like to do.
Yes.
But if you dial it back like 2 notches from sports car expectation and you take it into the headspace of, wow, this is great at this because you didn't expect it to be.
Yes.
Now it's amazing.
The weight keeps it from being a track car.
Yes.
It keeps it from being a high-performance car. But that V8 sounds great. Lots of power. The interior still feels interesting and relevant. The shapes there are, unfortunately, the older style interface on most of these cars. It did get upgraded with a new interface.
Yeah, it did.
But still, the surfaces, just the beauty of this car alone.
Agreed.
And you know what? The steering input, it's not really the most dynamic feeling car, but that's not why you buy it. It's insulating you, and people are looking at you. This is so superb. It's
every time you and I have one of our meetups, and we have another one coming up soon, someone brings one of these cars. And every time they do, I just think, you did it right. Because we always end up on great roads on our meetups, and we love doing that. But there's also always transit time, and you will have time on the tightest roads at the highest speeds. We're going to be like, this car is not loving this, but that's an extreme situation. And I've been on these road trips. in the reverse equation where I'm in the road trip and I'm leading in my Elise, and I have a few times when I'm cackling with laughter because the Elise is so great on this little back road, but the rest of the time I'm like, it'd be nice to be in a Lexus right now. And if you told me drive cross country in a car right now, this would be, that may be a whole other one we need to do, except spoiler alert, this would be one of my top 5. Like, start at one coast, go to the other coast, LC 500's on that list.
I'll add another category here, and it's cars that are effortless at the miles. Low speed, high speed, effortless. It soaks everything up, and you feel like a human being at the end of your trip when you get out.
And there's room to put
what a good
stuff.
GT car does.
There's room to put stuff.
Room
people
to put your gear.
Yeah, if you have a spouse like mine who somehow you don't understand how we have that many bags, you could actually have a conversation about taking an LC 500. The Elise is right out. There's a reason that my son and I have taken road trips in the Elise, and my wife and I have not, and that comes down to where does the stuff go?
Moving on to the next one here, and that is the Corvette C7 Grand Sport. I've got a silver one here on screen, and this is so much fun to drive. We actually drove one just recently on our Tail of the Dragon road trip. You can find that stacked up against a TVR Chimera. There's a bit of a through line, front engine V8.
Yes.
But the model, the Grand Sport model, it has gobs of power, but it's got a sporting character. And that's why I go back and forth. Can you track this car? You could.
Yes.
But there's more track-worthy cars in the Corvette lineup, in the C7 genre, than this particular one. But this one is the superb balance between grand and sport.
I agree.
It soaks up the miles, very comfortable, lots of power. You feel like yourself. It doesn't fatigue you. It's easy to drive, but still engaging. That's what a good GT car does, and this absolutely does it for me here. Doesn't matter the transmission, but great power.
You're 2 for 2. I'm curious if you're going to run the gamut of all 5 of mine, because
We'll
you're 2 for 2.
We'll see.
Keep going.
We might just have different photos. Good news, everyone. If you weren't aware, the 2016 Mercedes-Benz AMG GT is under 50 grand. Now, I must caveat that and admit to you, I only found one for sale under $50,000.
I found the exact same one. I looked. I put this as a wild card because I found one.
Only one.
A solitary one in the U.S.
But one counts. It had 89,000 miles on it, which is high miles.
Yeah, okay.
But still,
all right,
I cannot leave this off because what a sexy looking car, and all of the aspects, the characteristics that we've described of good GT cars absolutely apply to this. Could you track it? Sure. Are you going to be happier in something more lightweight? Yes, you are.
Yeah.
But we also drove one of these GTS up against the Aston Vanquish from 2015 and a recent 2022 Ferrari Portofino M in our road tours for going to Coda, or after Coda, going to
Coda,
Tail of the Dragon. And so reminded me of just what a fun, special car this is.
And Chris, who owns this, the one that we drove, he actually drove it on track on Circuit of the Americas and had a really good day. But I think he had a better time when we left the track and did multiple days of road touring over to Tail of the Dragon. I think he had a better time then.
I like Tour of the Dragon.
Tour of the Dragon. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to call our adventure there Tour of the Dragon. Let's do that. I like it.
Okay, we may differ going forward, but if we reset our headspace about this next car, I think you might be in agreement. And that is the Nissan Z.
I did call it a Grand Touring earlier.
I
called it a Grand Touring car.
And specifically, the NISMO version of it really strikes me as...
You think that's the GT version?
One of the two. It kind of depends on...
See, I think
you
the
could go
base
the base
model for GT.
You could go the base for GT, but you could go NISMO a little bit more for... I just want a little bit more sporting flavor to it because we both also admitted the NISMO is how the base should be.
Absolutely it should.
So I think the NISMO actually wins out because it still has the characteristics close enough to be comfortable long-term, but it has the sportiness and sort of that on-edge buzz about it that makes you feel engaged all the time. But it's not fatiguing to drive.
See, I don't know that you'd want to spend a whole day in a NISMO. I'd have to drive it again and think about it anew. Now that's coming with a manual. Maybe we do that.
Maybe there's a third model that Nissan needs to make, and it is right in between. The Nissan Z Grand Sport.
The Nissan... I don't know what it is.
I lean more closely towards the NISMO because it vindicated everything I wanted the Z car to be.
Yes, I get that.
Because we all thought, oh, the Z car is just going to be a great, lightweight, fun sports car. Could we parse that out a little bit more? And then the NISMO comes along, and now that the manual has been announced that should have been thought about. It seems like they waited for the whole world to drive their car, and then the whole world suggested, you know what it needs is...
Wouldn't this be
and
cool with a
then
manual?
they thought of it, and then it started production and engineering and all that stuff.
There's
you know
some
what I mean.
grumpy engineer in the corner at Nissan who was solo carrying the flag for the manual. NISMO must have a manual. And now he's walking around with an even bigger chip on his shoulder going, told you! You know that guy exists. There may be a whole army of them. But anyway, yeah.
So I also played with the idea from BMW. An
Okay.
M4 or an M2.
Sure.
And I've landed
Yeah.
on the competition.
Okay.
And that
All
is
right.
because what a great balance.
Sure.
Can you
Okay.
track it? Sure. Can you do all day in it? Can you go
Yeah.
long distances?
Yeah.
Can it saw through the miles comfortably? It's got that character like a Nismo. It's still kind of on edge.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I could say, well, maybe back it off to a 240i, but still I want the M2 competition, or maybe even the first gen, the 2016 M2. I think that would be a nice sweet spot. All of these are successfully under $50,000, which is great. I think the M2 really shines more as a GT, weirdly, than on track, even though I've driven this particular, I think it's F87 on track.
Yeah.
And loved it. Now,
It's good on track, but I don't think that...
it was highly modified.
Fair.
But I thrashed the snot out of it,
Yeah.
and it was just enjoyable, just hanging the tail out. It was just predictable, fun. But as it is, a stock, base car would be absolutely fun, and you could absolutely use it as a great GT car. That brings me to my wild card, and that is simply because it is in the name. And I struggled with this decision because you might accuse me of Maserati bias, and I would accept that happily. And you could say, well, you're just saying what Maserati claims their car to be. But the problem with the Maserati I had was never the steering and how it drove or
True.
the engine.
It drove very well.
Those were never the problems.
Sure.
It was everything else that was the problem. However, I went searching, and for $25,000, a low $25,000, you too can find very high mileage Gran Turismos.
$25,000 now?
They are. You can find one 50, 60,000 miles for 30, 25, 30, somewhere in there. But that tells me if it's properly cared for, like most Maseratis aren't.
Fair.
It will run for a long time. I found a 111,000 mile example for almost 20 grand. That means the owner commuted in it, drove it extensively.
Yeah.
It was a 2014, I believe,
Wow.
but maintained it, and it ran.
Convertible or hardtop?
It was I can't remember. I think it was a hardtop.
Okay.
But still, this, if you maintain it, could actually be enjoyable. An exhaust note that is almost unmatched.
Agreed. They sound
Almost.
amazing.
The engine, again, the engine's not the problem.
True. Fair.
On the early cars, it was the transmission. But here, we've just got an automatic. And then the chassis, dynamically great to drive. Again, it's a finicky Italian, but if you invest the money into it to take care of it, now you can find them very inexpensively, but even brand new, which, over $50,000. The sketches for the new one just grab my heart.
The new
feel
one
like
is
it's
actually
so
awesome.
Beautiful, and those prices are plummeting. So those will be under 50 soon.
Yeah, exactly. 4 or 5 years, you're going to be able to get a newer one, which is even better. I do like that. All right, so I need to talk about my 5, and the reality is there's a lot of overlap here. I have to go here to an awesome photo from Chance, and that is the last time we had an LC500 here that was bright yellow, and it was killer. You said LC500. We've waxed lyrical about it already, but again, as far as GT cars go, this is next to impossible to beat.
It just strikes me. I showed one in red, and you've got the one we had in yellow here. One of the few large cars that look great in bright, vivid colors.
Yes, it looks.
Usually that's reserved for small sports cars.
True, and this is why this design is so great. This is one of those designs that every color I've ever seen it in, it is an attractive car.
Yes.
I'm including blacks, grays, whites, all the colors I don't like. It's still a car that turns your head.
Yes.
You put a nice red or a burgundy or a blue or a yellow on this car, and it's just like, what is that thing? And I do think 20 plus years from now, first off, it's a Lexus, it'll probably still be running, but 20 plus years from now, I think we're going to look back on this car and people are going to be like, those are amazing, and they're going to be desirable. Do love it. It's hard to knock it anywhere but the top of the list for GT cars.
5 are available for sale under 50.
Well,
it counts.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're under the wire.
You said C7 Corvette Grand Sport. I totally agree with you there. Now here's where our lists diverge.
Okay.
The top of my personal list for GT cars, anytime you and I talk about used GT cars, I have to go to Aston Martin V8 Vantage.
So these are running what price-wise now? This is an 07, 08?
This is the early one, the 08. Bring 35 and up.
Okay.
So that you can go find them like crazy. Typically, the convertibles are cheaper than the hardtops. That's true of almost all of these kind of cars. Manuals are hard to find, but they are out there. A manual V8 Vantage. This exists forever on my personal list of, if I'm building a garage of cars, this is on it. I want one of these so badly.
Classic Aston modern styling.
I think this is alongside that Lexus as going to look attractive 20 years from now. Mm-hmm. The current Vantage, I did not like at all when they first introduced it, and they've revised it, and now I got into a place where I actually think I like it. But this one turns my head constantly. We had one of these early on in the filming of our show, like 2010 or so.
Yeah.
We both loved it.
Yeah.
This does everything I think a Grand Touring car should do. It has class. It also has a little bit of sexy style. Mm-hmm. It has performance. It has a great engine note, but you're inside it and just feeling like, oh, I just want to sit here all day. Where are we going? Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Again, this is top of my personal list. I'm a little afeared of what these would be to actually own and maintain, but I have to tell you, I kind of want to try it. I'd kind of like to have one of these. I'd kind of like to have one of these as a long-termer that we do some road trips in because I like these so much.
See, I loved it when they stuffed the V12, the 6-liter V12 into this small chassis.
Fascinating, yes.
That I have no idea what they drive like, but it really fascinates me.
It fascinates me too. This came in two different V8 flavors. I'm going to get it wrong. I think it was a 4.3 and a 4.6 or a 4.3 and a 4.7. They had two different engine sizes over the course of the lineup. The later engine apparently is a slightly better engine. I have heard that. Then, of course, they do the big V12. Now, the thing, unfortunately, I've talked to a lot of people that have driven the V12, and they've said that outside of the engine note, it's worse in every other way.
Too heavy. It's probably too much weight over the front axle.
Fascinating, but I'll take a first year with the small engine. I'm fine with it. V8 Vantage is top of my list. But anyway, I have to say 911.
Really?
You have to. Here's the thing. I feel like when you're looking at GT cars, if you're going to say Corvette, you have to say 911.
Okay. Fair.
Both the Corvette and the 911 are the ones on this list that start to blur the line toward you just bought a sports car. And we got a lot of commentary when we put the C8 Corvette against the LC500, and we expect, and people are like, this is a mismatch. I'm like, not really. Both of them are GT cars. Mm-hmm. Both of them were designed around golf clubs.
Designed around a sport.
Really, they both were.
Different sport. Yeah.
They was in the press materials of both of them. But at the same time, both the 911 and the Corvette are actually leaning more towards sporty cars than just GT cars. But I can't ignore the 911. The problem with the 911, besides the fact they're ubiquitous, is that for $50,000, you don't have much choice.
True. That's true.
So you wind up with two options here. You wind up with some 996s and some 997s. But in both cases, and I hate to say this, it's probably versions you don't want. Not great colors, base models, and those aren't bad. Please don't get me wrong. We drove a 2005 997 base model in blue in our 50 years of 911. It was one of my favorite cars of the film. It's still a very good car. And the 997, which I'm showing here, which is 05 to 2011, 2012. That is my favorite era of the 911 anyway. But the ones that are out there for 50 they're just below 50 as some of these other cars are, and it's not the 911 you were dreaming of. But I can't ignore it because in the world of GT cars, this does qualify.
That's fair. And interestingly, a 911, a Porsche, was not in my top 5 list. This bleeds too much into the sports car category for me, although it does prove yet again the 911 is the best at 3 things. It is absolutely a GT car. It can absolutely be a daily, and it's absolutely a track car.
For sure.
In all of the variants and flavors. That's why Porsche makes all those different ones. But you're right. You're kind of stuck with limited options to include this.
At the price point.
But it can do the GT car thing very wonderfully.
Absolutely. I think it does it in some cases. As the car gets bigger, it leans more and more toward GT car. But then the last of my 5, I think, is the car we're all sleeping on. And that is the Jaguar F-Type. This is also a late model version that Chance took of a Heritage Edition, but I don't care which version you get. Just go to Auto Tempest right now with $50,000 as a cap. You have choice. You have lots and lots of choice of these cars. Yep. And I'm showing an interior picture as well. This is a fantastic car across the board. I think as enthusiasts, we are sleeping on this car. We are ignoring it and overlooking it. Every time I drive one, I go, this is even better than I remember. They drive. Here's the thing. Is it the best thing I've ever driven? No. Are the things drive better? Absolutely. Is it a track car? Probably not.
Not really, no.
But every time I drive it, I just go, this drives great. Jaguar just did it well. They just, and in a world where...
Past tense.
Yes, they did. But yeah, it's sadly true. Here's the thing. This is, I would say, as far as luxury is concerned, 75% of the Aston Martin Vantage experience.
Okay.
But it's cheaper money. And there's options out there. Definitely switchgear and materials. They don't feel like the Aston Martin, but you can go out and get these. And there was a brief time when you could get these in manual, which is amazing to me. Lots of engine choices, rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Most of them have got a 6-speed automatic. No, it's an 8-speed automatic because it's the ZF, I think.
Yeah.
So most of them got a really nice automatic. They've got space for storage. Now, it's got kind of a small opening, a little bit less storage than you might think, but space for storage, luxury accommodations, and the dynamics are just good. So the Jaguar F-Type, I can't ignore it because I think it has to be here.
You're right. It was just a step below some of the others that
I understand.
I felt. I was just like almost there, but the others I felt like were just, a little bit better, a little bit more either in dynamics or maybe even switchgear. Instead of old Ford switchgear in the interior, it's new Volvo switchgear.
I hate to say it this way, but the reality is if you start cross-shopping these with a Vantage, the F-Type you're going to get is going to be almost 10 years newer than the Vantage you're
It's going to be newer and probably a better car.
Potentially, as far as if you were going to run it as a daily or just take it out on a road trip right now. I would prefer the Vantage. It just have a soft spot in my heart. But these F-Types are great. I have two quick wild cards.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Both of them you actually have mentioned. First off, I have to talk about the AMG GT. Just barely at 50.
Sexy car.
And then
there's one.
there's a part of me that thinks that we don't have the money for a show to do this right now, but there's a part of me that thinks that we need to buy $30,000-ish GT cars, and I need to find a $30,000 Vantage, and you need to find a $30,000 Gran Turismo Maserati. And I am terrified for both of us about having long-term $30,000 GT cars.
I like this idea.
I do too. I don't know where the money comes from, but one thing at a time.
I want to drive that.
I know you do.
And they're great to drive.
And your Maserati history, you should own, I think, a convertible, frankly, used Maserati.
I don't want a
Gran
convertible.
Turismo. I know you
want
don't.
the hard top.
But anyway,
I need another reason to buy more Maserati swag.
Yes, you do.
I need a Maserati T-shirt. I need to tease Maserati endlessly again.
Those are on my wild card list because I don't know that you want a Maserati Gran Turismo, but at the same time, Paul wants a Maserati Gran Turismo.
All right. Thank you for all your ideas. We really enjoy doing the top 5 lists.
They're really fun.
Continue writing your ideas to us, and we'll look forward to doing more in the future. We're adding FCP Euro as our partners and supporters for both Everyday Driver and Hooked on Driving. For nearly 40 years, FCP Euro has been an industry-leading supplier of genuine, original equipment and OEM parts and performance upgrades for European cars.
That means BMW, Audi, Volkswagen, Mini, Mercedes, Volvo, Porsche, and even Saab. Paul, you have to call your brother-in-law and tell him FCP Euro is the place because, as I just said, even Saab. We're putting it in the ad. Anyway.
They offer a lifetime replacement guarantee on everything, including consumables like brake pads, wiper blades, and even oil filters. Buy a replacement, send back the old one, and receive a credit for the full amount.
For your Saab!
Plus, FCP Euro offers free economy shipping on orders over $49 and a 90-day hassle-free return policy for new, unused, and uninstalled parts.
So visit FCP Euro today for more than 300,000 parts ready to ship for your European car and your Saab. FCPEuro.com.
For the first car debate, Matthew T. writes to us about replacing his dream car because he's got a sports car-shaped hole in his life.
This story did not go where I expected. It really doesn't.
Matthew recently sold a car that he would have described as his dream forever car. A 1982 Corvette that he spent 2 years restomodding, rebuilt engine with a 5-speed manual, and a lot of other changes and upgrades. Matthew kept it for 8 years, loved working on it, but towards the end realized he wasn't enjoying driving it that much, so he sold it.
I have to stop here, Matthew, and kind of applaud you, honestly. because the normal progression here is a person like you buys a car that they think is going to be their dream forever car, and then they do what you did. They build it out into their perfect version. And then if they don't enjoy driving it, they never actually admit it. Because so much effort was put into the finding and the building and the hours and the whatever that they go, I liked it. I'm glad to have had this experience, but I don't like driving it much anymore. But what happens is it winds up in the corner of the garage under a car cover with a bunch of boxes on top of it. Because they can't quite get rid of it because, I put all the time in and it was the thing I dreamed about. And you've said, all right, I realized I wasn't in driving it that much, and so I sold it.
When a dream car becomes a barn find car.
Yes, that's the moment.
Transition.
That is the moment. We can't possibly get rid of it.
Oh my gosh.
But I never drive it. And so 40 years from now, we're going to find it in a dusty garage.
Well, anyway. I thought this email was so apropos because Matthew's looking for a sports car with a budget of $50,000.
There you go. Love it.
Doesn't have a ton of requirements, mainly preferences, and that would be rear-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive based all-wheel drive. Manual is strongly preferred, but automatic means his wife could drive it, which would be nice. He prefers a two-seater, but 2+2 would be okay as long as it's 2 doors. So far, checking every one of our GT car
yes, we're doing well boxes. So far, yes.
Matthew's 6'3". He's a big guy, so no Miatas or anything too small.
Okay.
He's also an avid autocrosser, so ideally something that could be competitive, except he does admit he uses his GLI DSG transmission, which he could continue using for autocross.
He's competitive in that already.
Doesn't necessarily mean this car needs to go autocross. He could just keep using what he's already got, which I think you should, actually.
I agree.
It's already suited for it. It's probably already set up with it. For autocross with tires, I think you should
different task.
Leave that to the autocross. And he doesn't want another Corvette, no Mustangs, Camaros, Chargers, Challengers, none of that.
All right.
He's got a fairly small car history, includes a Ford Focus from 2007, the manual he got in college and drove into the ground.
Love
like that. And a 2021 Cadillac CT4V, which was totaled.
Oof.
So Matthew would love to have a new experience. He's got lots of potential cars on his list, including the usual suspects like GR86, Cayman Boxster, M2, Super Z4, F-Type. But he's open to other ideas, especially any wild cards that we might have.
Ooh, I have a couple that he's not going to see coming.
I do love your BMW M2 idea. That is part of my GT car list because you can track it, but it really does shine. High speed, on the road, comfortable.
Agreed.
But what's so great about it is it's a little bit smaller. It's not so big and heavy. It's that right in between car, kind of right on the cusp. So I encourage you to go drive any M2 that is $50,000, whatever price under 50 that you want to go drive. That is absolutely worthy to go investigate. But I also feel like you need to really consider a 911 because we've now discussed it. This is the car that you could autocross. I don't want you to.
But you could.
You don't need to, really.
Yeah.
But this is the car that I really want you to consider to look forward to driving. Now, I'm showing a 997.2 here. This is a Targa, which would mean a more expensive version. I actually do like the Targa from this era. From
one of my favorite Targas, yes.
I think it's absolutely a worthy consideration. And as you mentioned earlier, it does limit your choices in the $50,000 range. However, if you could just add 10 grand, the options actually open up a little bit wider than you might think.
That's true.
So it opens up a little bit newer cars, lower mileage, and something that you could just really make friends with. And your wife could drive it because you could get into PDKs at that point.
True.
Which would be nice. And I think it would be absolutely the thing that we're switching from old Corvette to much newer 911. It's the thing we keep talking about and what journalists have done forever as long as these cars have been around. It's Corvette or 911.
Yeah, true.
You're one of the two crowds.
True, yeah.
Now you get to try both.
Yeah,
so
very good.
911, absolutely. 50, 55, 60, somewhere in there. I'm going to push on you a little bit. So it's wild card territory, but not really, because this is the car I think you should consider, and I think you'd really love driving it. Think of classic interior. It's not so busy. It's just all about the driving experience. And so different car for you. It's a completely different experience.
That's really good stuff. Matthew, I want to talk about the fact that you've had a lot of really good things on your list, but I want to add a few. I want to list your list, but at the same time, I really want to jump right here to the BMW Z4 Coupe.
Oh, that's good.
Because you mentioned the Z4, the Supra, the 86, the M2, the usual suspects, very good usual suspects, and I think you should drive as many of those as you can find. But there was this brief era in the early mid-2000s when the Z4 came in coupe, and it was a greatest hits car. Engine of the beloved E46, hydraulic steering, great profile shape, really a fantastic looking car. I had the convertible. Honestly, the coupe remains one of those cars that got away from me. It's just such a really cool car. So the Z4 Coupe, another one you're not going to see coming, but I thought about the fact this beloved car you had was a 1982. So an old car.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want any of the usual suspects.
Malaise era.
Yeah, you don't want any of the usual suspects of, the normal muscle cars from the U.S. It sounds like you kind of want a completely new experience that's totally different, but you have that older car history and love. I'm going to say Nissan 300ZX twin turbo.
I love that you're showing your car.
I'm showing my car because
of the Bob's Big Boy.
I am, because Chance has a fantastic photo of it on one of our road trip films. But this legitimately, if I had a bunch of money tomorrow, I would call up the guy that bought this car and try to buy it back. It is such a cool car.
Yeah,
and it's right at that tipping point when old cars became new cars. It's right at the fulcrum of that. Mm-hmm. And these hold up so well. It is a great grand touring car. I wouldn't use it as a track car. You're just going to beat on it too much. But anytime you want to go drive this car for fun, it is a fun car to drive. But it has that older analog feel that you have in your history, but it feels a lot more modern than an 82 Corvette.
That's for sure.
So I think a 300ZX twin turbo with your 50 grand, you could find options all over the place. Don't even need to spend close to 50 grand. You can find a really good one. The twin turbo is worth it. Find one that's been well maintained. These are really, really superb cars. While I'm staying in cars that I think will surprise you, I know you're a big guy. I fit in this one too. The Honda S2000.
That's smaller,
It's smaller, but you can fit in it more than a Miata. I fit in this. I had a Z4. I fit in it well. Honda S2000 is also a totally different experience than you've had before. I think you would like that. I'm going to get into two wild cards. Both of them don't work for different reasons, but the first one, I really want to have it work for you. I'm trying to think about unique experience. I feel like the cars you've had and the cars you're looking for are not something you want to see a lot of, which is why my choices are becoming this way. And that brings me to the Lotus Evora. Now, I've got an M2 in the background of this shot, courtesy of Chance, but the Evora is a wonderful car. The problem with your $50,000 budget is at 50 grand, you're getting base models from the first couple of years. That's why it's a wild card, because the ones you want are the 400 and beyond. At minimum, an S from 2014 or so. But what you probably want is the 2017 range of the 400 and beyond.
Yep.
And that's going to be 15 to 20 grand more than your budget. And I'm actually showing a GT here, which was the latest and greatest model. But an Evora is a totally different experience than you've had. And it's a Toyota engine. I think you're going to love having that car. And then a wild card that I didn't even see coming until the idea popped in my head.
Okay. All right.
Matthew, you're a big guy. You have American cars in your history. You want something unique, different. You got 50 grand to spend. You're not afraid of tinkering on stuff. You're too big for a Miata, a car that nobody sees coming. It's not the most greatest car to drive, but it gets overlooked. The Saturn Sky Redline.
Really?
I think the Saturn Sky styling, and especially the interior, have aged better than the Solstice. I think the Solstice interior is terrible. It wasn't great to begin with, but now it's really bad. The Saturn Sky Redline or the Solstice, either one of those. You get the turbo version. The Solstice is the GXP. You get the Redline and the Saturn lineup. This is GM's attempt at a Miata competitor. And it doesn't quite get there because it's bigger than the Miata.
Yeah.
And it has the most useless trunk in history. It's staggering how stupid the trunk is.
Even compared to your Lotus Elise?
Oh, yes. The Lotus is usable by comparison.
Wow.
Because the Lotus, at least, it's a tub. It's like a normal shaped tub.
It's a small tub.
This
it's
is
a
like
sink.
It's the size of your, because I've done it.
It's
the
an
size
RV sink
of your standard actual tub you would use to put stuff in. I know that because the guy gave me extra parts and we barely got it in there. That's exactly the size of the trunk.
Okay.
The problem with this trunk is it's the hatch where the top goes. The top doesn't go down automatically, which is stupid. And so it's literally the extra space where the top isn't. And you had to buy these special little like roller beds. It's like the rolled up sleeping mats. That's the kind of space you have. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's not good.
But these drive better than people think they do.
They do.
They are surprisingly good. Even in base form, they drive pretty well. When we first filmed a TV pilot for this show, almost 2 decades ago, we drove a Solstice, and we were pleasantly pleased with it on camera. So I think this is an utter wild card. And the other thing I like about this is the nicest one for sale is half your budget. Most of them are going to be $15,000. Find one that's been well maintained. You may have a little bit of a search for parts on these, but you're never going to see another one. They are fun to drive. And because they are built, if you think about it this way, they were built for the Corvette owner that kind of thinks he wants a Miata. They're built for bigger people. They're built with that
that's
kind of
GM
thinking.
in general. Everything GM builds
everything is bigger.
Bigger.
So, and this is a modern car. I know I'm way into wild card territory, but it never gets talked about. And I think, Matthew, you might be the right buyer for a Saturn Sky.
This not being a Saturn notwithstanding, is this the first time that a Saturn has been recommended on this show? Have we ever recommended Saturn?
It might be the first time.
And it's not a Saturn.
It's not. It's
but
the
it's
Opel,
a Saturn.
The Opel Sportster or whatever they're called, Roadster. Yeah,
Pontiac GT.
For sure. Yeah, Pontiac Solstice.
Solstice. Yeah, GT. Yeah.
Saturn Sky.
Saturn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yep. Had a cool logo. Had a cool premise. Didn't make good cars. This is maybe the only one.
I told you that story long ago when all the Japanese engineers at Toyota, Honda, they all bought a Saturn.
They were worried
as the competitor, and tore it apart and burst into laughter.
Yeah, they thought the Americans had figured it out until they took apart a Saturn and decided, no, we're doing fine.
Car conclusions, Topic Tuesdays, car debates, everydaydrivertv@gmail.com.
Griot's Garage is our official car care partner and one of our very first sponsors for the show. They don't just make great car care products, they want you to get out and drive your car.
Griot's is a family-owned company, and they've been a part of every one of our road trips. We always take speed shine on every shoot, helping us spot clean cars at a moment's notice.
Their foaming glass cleaner is the quickest and best way we've ever found to get windows clean before a big day of driving. And they're always releasing new and improved products like their updated Wash Bucket 2.
Plus, all of Griot's liquid products are 100% guaranteed and made right here in the USA. The Griot's people are always happy to answer any questions to make sure you get the right product and the right results.
So get the best quality car care products out there from a company that has always supported this show. Our audience can always get at least 10% off by using the code DRIVER10 at griotsgarage.com.
Our second debate is where this episode was spawned from. Mm-hmm. Peter M. writes to us and gave us this idea to cover $50,000 GT Grand Tours. So Peter, Thank you for suggesting this. He says GT cars to him are reasonably quiet, travel long distance without fatiguing the occupants, large luggage space for two people. Mm-hmm. So I hope we covered those requirements, added a few of our own. And Peter, really appreciate you writing, and he's got an email debate of his own because he currently owns a 2022 C8 Corvette convertible. He likes it, but he's not in love with it.
Interesting, yeah.
When he attends track days, he brings the pop-up canopy that folded into its case measures 4 feet high by 8 inches wide, 8 inches deep, and that's all that fits into the Corvette's poorly insulated rear trunk. So golf bags and Peter's pop-up tent.
Pop-ups, yes, He
says cars like the Super or GR86 might work, and reading your email, I'm keeping in mind that you probably are going to want to track this car.
Yes.
The GR86 only has Alcantara in the interior and eliminates it. So what happened to leather? Well, it's the price point that happened to that car, not fair. Leather itself. Yeah. Super does not appear to have a large enough trunk for the canopy. Maybe an M2 BMW. We've suggested a lot of M2s. And yes, to M2s. We like that.
Would work for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He also thought about something like an older Aston Martin V8 Vantage.
I love them. They're so great. Yeah.
He's apprehensive about repair costs there, where to have it serviced. And he says also a Jag F-Type could be nice, but Jaguar is on pause for the world, I think. Everybody's just sort of,
people are holding their breath.
We'll see what happens here. And he says the Corvette also spoiled him to having an HUD heads-up display. And Peter, I'm going to really pull you out of your budget zone and your comfort zone for this one.
I like it. Good.
Yes to the M2, but I'm going to just go for it.
Okay. I like when you just moonshot it and toss out the budget and go, here's what you really want.
Because it feels like to me, if we suggest any of the usual suspects, any of the cars that we've been talking about, you'll like them for about 11 minutes.
Okay.
I got it. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to own any of them. But
sure.
For where Peter's coming from, he likes but does not love his 2022 C8.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a great car. That can be a GT car.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's absolutely a track car.
GT car. Yeah, for sure.
But I think you need something that you're going to scratch your head and say, I can't believe that I own this. And I'm going right for a Lotus Evora. What I'm showing on screen right now is the 400. You are right, 2017 400 and up. The problem is only base Evoras, not even an S, is available for $50,000 and under.
Yes.
So you're going to have to go S, but I thought, Peter's not going to want an S. If we're going to go to Lotus Evora, forget the base, forget the S. Let's go straight to 400, 410, 430 overseas.
And
but
then GT, yeah.
GT at the top end.
That's when that car really got good.
If I could make your budget 1.5 times and let's go straight for the GT, but I'm starting only with the 400 because also excellent. But really, the GT is the one you actually want to go buy. And this is the car that I want you to put miles on, the one that you won't be able to believe that you have. And your friends will say, you got a what?
Yeah.
Now, Toyota engine.
For sure. Yeah.
Hopefully that alleviates most of your fears about maintenance, where to have it serviced. Toyota engine. But the performance, the joy, the sheer joy you are going to have, you're going to look forward. You're going to create excuses, as we should all create excuses. Are we out of milk again?
Why do you keep pouring milk at the sink? Yeah.
Create an excuse to go drive the car, to figure out a road trip, to bring it to a track day. You can track it. It can be a GT car. And then I arrived at the tent.
Oh, okay.
The back seat.
True. And also,
the back seat.
This has a larger trunk than you think.
It does, but slide it across the back seat.
Of course, yes. Perfect.
That's where the canopy goes.
Absolutely. All day long.
Solved. I've spent way more than you were expecting to. But also, any of the other suggestions that we could make, stay under $50,000. Okay, I'm almost there, but I want you to have the car that you just, oh yes, I overspent, and I'm so glad I did. And that's, Peter, what I think you're actually saying in your email.
That's really good. I do like that. And for once, I didn't actually recommend a Lotus. I also want to say this to you. The Corvette, I think you're going to appreciate how really versatile that car is after you get rid of it. It's really hard. Honestly, it is incredibly hard.
Now that I don't have it.
To buy a car that is as versatile and still successful doing as many things as the C8 Corvette. Yeah. Now, the fact that it is so versatile is one of the things that keeps it from being like a 10. Because it's trying to be so many things. It's doing all these things at like an 8.
Yep.
Okay? And that, I think, is one of the reasons why it's hard to fall all over in love with the car. But anytime you and I drive ours, and ours actually is available for sale right now at about $60,000, or low 60s, which is actually kind of the bottom of the market, and ours is in phenomenal shape with a couple of sets of wheels, so contact us. We're happy to talk about it with you. Yes. But every time either one of us drives it, we get out of it going, what a great car. Because it is, again, an 8 in everything you can imagine. And that takes away a little bit of the, oh my God, I love this, but it just works. And I think once you get rid of it, you're going to be like, yeah, the Corvette really did whatever so well. So I'm just cautioning you on that. The big thing I want to say to you, Peter, is not even recommending a car. I want to say this and just kind of challenge all of this, because we see emails like this often. I would like to get car X, but the dealer is this amount away.
Oh.
Or if I ever drove it cross country, who's going to service it? And I think we keep ourselves out of good cars by that thinking. Because the reality is, if you're going to have a fun car and you're going to take it anywhere but down the block from the dealer you bought it at, you're going to wind up somewhere where the car needs something and a dealer isn't close. Even a Porsche. You take a Porsche on a cross-country road trip, you're going to wind up, like we have, in middle of nowhere American towns where they haven't even seen a Porsche, let alone know how to service it. We're keeping ourselves. The only way, honestly, the only way to buy a vehicle where you will always be near a dealer is a Ford F-150 or a Chevy Silverado. And that's the end of the discussion. Even a Corvette, you can take it into some Chevy dealers and they're like, we don't see any of these. Seriously.
We don't have stock oil filters.
And here's the other part of the equation. Even dealers often get it wrong. I want to come to a direct conversation. We've been talking about the Merc GT, the Mercedes GT, on this podcast. We recently drove that one that Chris owns, 2017 blue one that we had on our Coda Road Trip series. And part of the story of that car when Chris bought it, he bought it from a 90-something-year-old car collector who sold it because the suspension always felt a little stiff. And I first drove it when Chris bought it and thought, this is stiffer than I remember, but Okay.
But whatever.
We drive
Yeah.
a lot of cars.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Chris got it home and got a post-purchase inspection on it, which we don't recommend it, and he knew that. Got a post-purchase inspection, and the person doing the inspection, I don't even think was a Mercedes dealer. And they found shipping blocks still in the suspension, which means the first owner had only ever driven it with the shipping block still in the suspension, not having been removed when the car came off the boat. Now, this means that the car that they paid a lot of money for Mercedes went to a Mercedes dealer who didn't know the car well enough to remove the shipping blocks and gave it to the customer that way. And that is not a one-off. We have heard that situation on all kinds of cars. The point I'm making here is we think the dealer is the all-knower, all-doer of the car we question and we buy. And sometimes, and I've had this experience, and I have a good experience with the Lotus dealer here in Salt Lake, sometimes you will find a tech at your local dealer who is a godsend, and they are amazing, and they know everything about the car you're talking about.
Yep.
But you may go to your local dealer, and they're like, we never see these. I've never worked on them. And they can pull up the manual, but this is the first one they've ever seen. So my recommendation to all of us is buy the car that you're interested in and take it to the mechanic you trust. I don't care what's over the door. I don't care what it says on the sign.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have a mechanic that I trust, because the other thing that's happened by this point, and I've actually had this happen with my Elise, there are so many do-it-yourself videos online about how to change X in random car that you get a skilled mechanic, he can find the walkthrough, but they're a skilled mechanic anyway. So the days of only the dealer can service this car, I think that's behind us. And in some cases, the dealer might not do it right. So buy the car, take it to the mechanic you have that you trust, and also take it cross country and realize you're going to be in the middle of nowhere, and I don't care what you're driving, they can't service it right now.
That's excellent. Guys, thank you for all your questions. Really appreciate it. Write to us, everydaydrivertv@gmail.com. Topic Tuesdays, car conclusions, and car debates.
We're going to hop to questions because we're flying through. You guys are awesome on questions. We posted a brand new car in the Prelude, and you blew up with questions. We've covered the Prelude already.
Many questions.
So we're going to jump to other things. I'm going to jump right here to Espagan86. I totally butchered that. Sorry. Looking at Z4s, would you go for a 2015 hardtop, which is a second gen, 161,000 miles, or an 04 soft top with 53,000 miles? Both priced the same, both manual, roughly $14,000. It's going to come down to who is the owner and what is the service. I think you go with the older one personally, because 53,000 miles on an 04 soft top, if that's been babied and well taken care of, that car's going to run. 160,000 miles on a 2015, it's a 10-year-old BMW. There's parts that they're going to start wearing out, like all the plastic stuff they put in the cooling system. Probably is going to need to be replaced. Probably true of both of them, actually.
Exactly.
But the key thing here is going to be ownership and maintenance.
On Facebook, Nate asks, what car has had the biggest difference between your expectation versus reality when you drove it, for better or for worse? I am going to answer this by not answering it and use it instead to promote an upcoming piece that we have shot that is lightweight sports cars, including the Alpine A110 GT, a Lotus Elise like Todd's.
Not mine.
Not yours.
For once. Yeah.
And an Alfa Romeo 4C. Now, these were sports cars in our minds that are all lightweight, the go-to sports cars, and it gave us an opportunity to drive them yet anew with a fresh headspace against a car we never actually thought we would get to drive, and that is the Alpine A110 GT.
True.
So all three of those, thanks to Ben, the owner, who lives in France, and he had this Alpine A110 in the U.S. for summer 2025, and we got to drive it on our road trip to COTA and also for this particular film. We're very excited to share this film, but I don't want to give any spoilers away, so instead I will say look forward to this piece, and your question absolutely will be answered.
I like it. I'm actually going to answer Nate's question with a couple of actual cars. I love that you're talking about that piece because it's coming up on our edit to-do list that I'm very excited about. We got some really good footage. But Nate, okay, biggest difference between expectation and reality when driving a car. I'm going to give you three that exceeded my expectations walking up to them. The Fiesta ST.
Oh, that's good.
I'd heard it was good. And I was like, yeah, but have you seen it? It's a Fiesta ST. I mean, because around that time, for another reason, we'd had an opportunity to drive a base Fiesta ST, and I was like, okay. I mean, sorry, a base Fiesta. And I saw it. So the base Fiesta was so very marginal that I was like, an ST, really? I mean, how good can this be?
How much better is it than
seriously? You've got to be
Heap.
kidding.
Yeah.
And every time I drive one, I love it. Every time I drive one, I think, how cheap are these? They're so great to drive. They look quirky. They're very cheap inside. There's all these boxes stacked against it where you're just like, that can't be fun. You drive it and go, no, that's just great.
Be a great winter car. Winter
Fiesta
tires on
ST.
that thing.
Oh my gosh.
Handbrake turns everywhere.
The current gen, boxy, bulbous, weird-looking BMW M2. It's like, really? Everything about it, the stats, the look, the weird Samsung screen in the interior,
the weight,
the crazy cost, all of the tech. What are we doing? Weighs way too much. And I got in, it was like, this drives brilliantly. It drives so well.
I could imagine owning
it. Drove. Well, here's the thing. It drove so well it annoyed me because I was like, what are you doing? You've so defied all of the logic of what's on paper. What are you doing over there? What weird magic are they doing? I don't want that car to drive that well. I have to say it. I don't want it to drive that well. It drives so well and it looks so ugly and I do not want one at all. But my God, they're good to drive. Another one, first gen Porsche Panamera.
Oh, yes.
Ugly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just straight up ugly. What is going on? You let that leave the factory looking like that.
You walked out of the house dressed like that.
They were like, we're going to start selling this. Really? And it was also at the area where Porsches finally decided to make a 4-door sedan. And you looked like that? Can we not walk away from the 911 any further?
911.
Can we not just go, what does it need to look like? And part of the reason it looks so bad is because there was a mandate that people over 6 feet tall needed to fit in all 4 seats. And my first experience was actually as a passenger with 3 other 6-footers in the car. And I was like, what is happening here? That car
design brief worked.
Drives amazingly well and looks awful. And only got better in looks. But those 3, I have to say, defied all my expectations, and I'm wowed.
A slightly related question on Instagram. Richard asks if there's a car that we've driven that other drivers were loath to let pass.
This is great.
Yes, a Miata. Any Miata at any time. Mm-hmm. I can hold more speed through the corners than you can. I just can. And a Miata, that tiny little thing, the problem is every other car, including old Accords, is faster on the straightaways.
Yes.
So, Miata, absolutely. Drivers don't want to let Miatas past. Mm-hmm. On the road, on the track, I don't care. I'm not letting that thing by, even though I didn't call your baby ugly. I'm not, I'm not here to insult you. Just please let me pass.
Yeah.
I'm faster. Yeah. That's, I think, every Miata driver.
I think that's fair.
The second part of the question, is there a car you've owned or driven that other drivers seem eager to let you go by? Yes, there is.
Okay.
You just actually had one with the Toyota Tacoma or Toyota Tundra.
Yes, the big Tundra. Yeah.
The giant grill. Mm-hmm. Any Charger and Challenger that I've driven, especially with the Hellcat version, traffic parts just magically.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It just parts because they see that menace. And weirdly, my GT4, I'm experiencing it quite a lot.
Really?
The quad LED daytime running lights. Mm-hmm. It looks kind of menacing. It's a low sports car, and it looks severe. It looks very serious sports car business coming up behind you. Mm-hmm. And I've had quite a few people just, are we in Germany?
What just happened? That's funny.
This is great.
I agree with you.
I'll take it.
I agree. Those are really good. Richard, I'm going to say I can give both sides of the coin here because I think I'm going to expand on what Paul's talking about with the Miata. It's any fairly affordable small sports car because the Elise, I may be bright safety yellow and they're not getting over. They don't care. Yeah. And in many cases, and this is where the other side of the equation comes in many cases when I drive my Elise and also when I've been driving Miatas and sometimes with something like a GR86, the cars that roll coal, the big lifted trucks, will hunt you down proactively. I had it happen multiple times to me while driving small sports cars.
It's too bad, yeah.
The flip side is if you drive a large pickup, a big, billboard fronted pickup, it is amazing how people, except for other pickup trucks, people just decide, I should be out of your lane.
Yes.
You were in my mirror, and I need to not have not happen anymore. And that is very true. Whenever we get a large pickup, I subconsciously notice that because I'm conditioned the other way. And so I'll be driving a pickup, running an errand. I was recently in this Tundra with my wife. And we were driving somewhere, and we were just having a conversation about nothing to do with the truck or the trap, nothing. And she suddenly went, I should get one of these. And I said, why? And she said, because people just keep getting out of your way. And we were just like, Red Sea was parting as we drove.
It's menacing looking.
It's menacing to have that billboard with lights behind you when it's time to move.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for all your questions. Yeah. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to continuing the top 5 lists, continuing car conclusions. We ranted about the Prelude way too long.
We did, but
it deserved
it was good.
it.
Yes, it did.
And we're looking forward to next time as always. Cheers, everyone.